Alright guys, you saw how I was able to start the engine on this E30 316i Touring that had been sitting for many years. Previous owner said 3 years, but I think it's been a lot more than that. And it started eventually, but I haven't driven the car. Now, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I haven't done anything else since the last video. I'm just gonna get in and try to drive it. I will, kind of test the brakes in the beginning just to make sure I can stop. But other than that, I haven't really checked anything. So I'm gonna find out whether it's drivable as I start doing it. So let's see. I connected the battery and hopefully it'll start. Oh, and the tachometer is working. It wasn't working last time. Interesting. All right, let's see if it can move under its own power. Wait, that engine sound doesn't really sound very good. Okay, now it evened out. It's almost as if it was running on fewer than 4 cylinders. Yep, there you go again. And the car is shaking. Not great. But let's see, okay, I've put it in reverse now. Let's see if it'll move. Yeah, the clutch works. See the brakes, yeah, the brakes seem to be fine. At least from a 1 kilometer an hour roll. Let's see if it'll climb the ramp coming out of my garage. Actually, I need to maneuver it a little more. Let's hope I don't crash it while doing that and filming with one hand. Okay, yeah, it can climb. It's fine. Immediately after driving it out, I noticed these oil spots here on the ground. So let's see if it's leaking or something. I don't see anything. So I'll just drive it. Maybe it was just standing oil somewhere. And this was a uphill, so it dripped out. So let's find out. Lights on? Does it have lights? No. That might be an issue, because here lights are required even during the day. I just found out most of the lights aren't working, so I'm just gonna do a quick flip around the corner. But so far, it looks like it's running and driving. It's okay. Obviously the brakes are grinding and all that, but that's kind of expected. But it works, it drives. Turn signal in the back is out. Let's hear the suspension. I don't know, it's bad. And one of the tires is semi-flat, so I'll need to pump it up. Some noise here from the dashboard or the steering column. Something is dangling, making noise. I don't know. Oh, and I'm getting a fuel smell. That does not sound good. Okay, I'm gonna pull over, check what's going on. Okay, I don't see any actual drips of oil or fuel or anything, but I just realized that I haven't checked the coolant yet. I don't even know if I have coolant. And the engine has warmed up a little bit, but not enough to cause a problem. Wow, it's really dirty. So let me see. It's bubbling here. Yeah, it has coolant. Yep. And it looks the correct color, so probably fine. At least for a test drive. Okay, I'm gonna continue the test drive, but I'm just gonna get back quickly. Guys, I just drove the car for about 5 minutes and took it to a gas station here, put in some gas, and now putting the key back into the ignition, turning it, shows high temperature. And I'm pretty sure the fuel sender unit isn't registering the available gas, because I put in about 10 more liters and there was already about 8 liters in it, and the gauge is only showing a little bit, but I'll deal with that later. Now the thing I'm concerned about is this. Let's see, when it starts the fuel pump, maybe it'll go back down. I mean the water pump. No? I guess not. I better drive it home quickly. Okay, well, I bled the cooling system, put in some water, and now the car doesn't overheat anymore. It was that simple. Check this out. Coolant temperature right in the middle. I just let it idle for a little bit, drove it around a little bit, and it's sitting fine. So that was it. No serious issue with this engine, and I won't need to troubleshoot the whole cooling system. It just didn't have any coolant in it. In the process, by the way, while I was working on this, because it's already dark outside and I wanted to drive the car outside, I noticed that my headlights didn't work. Pull the switch, nothing happens. Only the marker lights were coming on. I did some electrical troubleshooting with a trusty voltmeter and a bunch of wires and stuff like that, and I found out somebody had put the wrong relay here. This is the low beam relay. They had put in this yellow relay, which has a different connection circuit. Check this out. Whereas the real relay is supposed to have something similar to the one I put in. The one I put in, I actually took out of the wiring harness for the S54 engine that's gonna go into this car. But it's close enough to the circuit that the headlights need here. And now the headlights work. But, I mean, come on, who would put the wrong relay? If I don't have the relay that actually works here, I would just not put anything, or leave the old broken one in there. Who would, in their right mind, would just pick up a relay that has the same prongs and say, oh, well, let me just put that in and try it and have it not work and then just leave it there? Come on. But the good news is I will be able to drive this car. Yeah. Well, I decided to actually change the oil in this thing because, as I said, I am going to drive it a little bit. So I got some cheap oil. It's just 10W40 mineral oil, not synthetic. But whatever it is, it's going to lubricate things way better than whatever is in the engine right now. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm changing the filter, obviously. And I'm also changing the fuel filter. So let's see what comes out of the engine in terms of oil. Okay. Oh, it's dripping. No, that was just dirt. Never mind. It was just dirt from this thing sitting in a lawn somewhere for who knows how long. Okay. It's black for sure, but oh, let me not lose the washer here on the bolt. It just looks like used oil, black, nothing too terrible. Well, fuel filter replacement is done. And the oil change is done as well. Let's see how I did. This is where the filter goes. After every oil change, it's critical to watch your oil pressure light the first time you start the car. And in my case here, because I also changed the fuel filter, I'm also going to be watching for leaks at the fuel filter. Oh, might help to turn on the battery to connect it. I got this quick connect thingy that I got on Amazon. All you need to do is just screw this in and it starts making contact, and then the battery is connected. Very quick and easy, just a few seconds. So I'm using those on all of my cars. I put in the fuel filter, the fuel pump relay, which I had removed in order to relieve fuel pressure. So now I should be able to just start the car. And again, critical to watch the oil pressure light. Okay, the fuel is still getting through the fuel lines, and filling in the filter. Come on, go out, go out, go out. Go out. No, it should be out by now. No. Okay. That's not great. I mean, it does take a few seconds sometimes to get the oil flowing. Oh, guys, I'm an idiot. I forgot to fill in the oil. Wow. Wow. I never thought this would happen to me. Forgetting to fill in the oil, but at least I remembered to watch for the light. See how important that is? What an idiot. Okay, I'm gonna fill it in now and start it again. Wow. This is obviously not good for the engine. Alright, I filled it with oil now. I don't know how I can possibly forget to fill the oil in. I've done tens of oil changes on my car so far and never forgotten to do that. That's the main part of changing the oil. Like putting in new oil. Anyway, but it shouldn't have caused any damage. It was only running for a few seconds and there's obviously remaining lubrication in the engine. So it's fine. I filled it in now. I'm also gonna check now for any leaks at the fuel filter because obviously it was replaced. Here at the hose connections, I don't see any leaks, but I'll check again when the car is running again. So far it looks pretty good. So take two. Again, watching the oil pressure light. See what happens now. Go out, come on. Come on, now it should go out. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, yeah, it obviously takes a few seconds to build up pressure, but yeah, it is fine now. And see how like the tachometer is jumping? It's not working at all. It's just getting stuck at various positions. Okay, shut off the engine. Let the oil drop down for a few seconds and then check the oil level again. So I'm gonna do that off camera, but it looks like the job is done. All right, well, I just drove the car for a little bit, maybe like less than 5 minutes now, and it seems to be fine. The brakes are dragging a little bit, or at least corrosion is getting still stripped off of it, off of the discs. The fuel pump is still making some noise. I don't know if you can hear that on the camera, but yeah, like right now. I don't know. But I think the fuel filter did help. The engine is running more smoothly now, and it drives fine. The suspension is shot completely, very loose, but that's fine. I'm gonna be replacing it anyway. Now, when I give it some gas, do you hear this? I don't know if the camera is picking that up, but maybe it's unrelated to when I give it gas, but in some situations the fuel pump just starts making some kind of noises like that. Oh, and the fuel gauge keeps coming on and off. It was showing 20 liters earlier, now it's showing 0. Maybe when I hit another bump it's gonna show 20 again. Who knows? But the good thing is the temperature gauge is working fine. It was always working fine, but now the engine starts heating up very gradually, as it should, over the course of a few minutes. Not like last time, the first time I drove it, when it went to the middle in like 1 or 2 minutes very quickly, and then started overheating. Now it's fine. I've been driving it for more than 5 minutes and it's not overheating. Now what? I was just about to go for a test drive after having done a successful test drive about a week ago, or a few days ago, and now the car won't start. It started actually for a few seconds and then died, and now it just won't start. Great. I'm not sure I'm hearing the fuel pump run. I'm sick of troubleshooting the fuel pump. Man. Okay. Maybe we broke another fuel pump. Maybe because of the crap that was at the bottom of the fuel tank or something. I gotta start troubleshooting again. The whole thing all over again. And it looks like it's a fuel pump problem again. When I jump the relay here, I do not hear the fuel pump run. All right, let's do this again. Putting the relay back in. Let's see, it goes this way. And then cranking to see if there's any power at the fuel pump, just to make sure that that is indeed all right. And if it is all right, then the problem is the fuel pump itself. So let's see. I've got it connected here to the connector and cranking. Yep, we've got power. So that means the fuel pump itself is bad. And if you remember, I put in the fuel pump from my old E30 and it was working. So either it got clogged with all the crap that was in the fuel tank, or I don't know, for some other reason it stopped working. But there is power to it, so it's disassembly time again. Okay, the fuel sending unit is out, the pump is still in, and I can already see that the bottom of the tank is very dirty, and that the filter, a little screen thingy here on the fuel pump, has gotten dirty. Maybe that's the cause of the failure of the fuel pump. Maybe it had to work extra hard in order to suck in fuel, and maybe it did suck in some crap and it blocked it or whatever. And that means that I need to drop the fuel tank, which requires dropping the driveline, exhaust, I don't know what else, maybe some other stuff as well, but it's no fun. Okay, here's my first look under the car. Let's see what we find. This looks okay here. This is the fuel filler neck. There's some rust here. That's not good. But it's not horrible. It's actually a bracket. That bracket maybe is replaceable. No, I think it's welded to the body. But never mind, it's not a big deal. There's some rust here. So this is the parking brake cable, and here's where it touches the body of the car. This is under the rear seat. So some rust there. Nothing too terrible. The fuel filler neck actually is not rusted, and the fuel tank is not rusted at that spot, which is it's common for them to rust there, so that's a good sign. Rear subframe looks okay. Bushing's very worn. The rear Suspension, obviously all of this stuff is getting replaced, but for what it's worth, there is almost no rust on it, on the original components. In some space, like, yeah, even this bracket on this side is in much better shape, so that's fine. What about here? Some rust on the attachment point for the sway bar, and this is part of the chassis here. Heat shield, very rusty. I'm gonna replace that. Exhaust muffler, obviously it's getting replaced, so it doesn't matter. This here matters, and that's the bracket from the body of the car that holds the differential mount. Some rust, but structurally it seems okay. Original catalytic converter, which is good. Those things are worth money. And then here we've got the underfloor panel behind, in front of the right rear seat. Has been pushed in a bit, so I'll have to see how to fix that. I don't know how to deal with stuff like that, so I'll have to ask a body shop. But there's no rust, so that's good. There's some minor surface stuff here, but no rust. I don't like the look of this. This here, but it's actually also just surface rust. Seems okay. Obviously, I'll have to treat these points that are rusted with something, some corrosion preventer thing. But the point is, it's not rusted through. Let's see here. And the front, it looks good. There's no rust to speak of. Let's see on this side. What about here? Okay, yeah, some rust on the jacking point. And here's a view from the front of the car. Looks very dirty. Looks like it's been sitting in a field or something with mud. Just, you know, sprayed everywhere. Here, here. This is broken. That's fine. What else? Wait, is this a repair job here? Because I see a seam here. Let's see, is it the same on the other side? Okay, so there is a seam on the other side here. So that looks factory. And this must be factory as well. I got worried there for a second. Also, this dimple here is present on the other side as well, so that's not a dent or anything. Okay. Got worried there for a second. But it looks fine. There's no rust. Look here. None of this stuff is rusted. Anything here? Looks fine. Looks fine. These parts are getting replaced, obviously, the control arms and these, I don't know if I'm replacing. Yeah, I guess I do have to replace these as well, the lollipops for the 5-lug swap. And then there's a rusty brake line, maybe, whatever it is, or a fuel line. I have to check what it is. So we'll see if it's a problem. Maybe I'll need to replace that here. That runs along the back of the car, but yeah, so far looks fine. Yeah, the body of this car is in much better shape than the one that I scrapped. Some very minor surface rust here on the front beam. Yeah, nothing really to speak of. It's all good. There's a lot of potential in this chassis. I think it might be the one. And the crappy thing about doing this job of removing the fuel tank is that I need to remove the exhaust, the entire exhaust. So that starts from here in the front, from where the exhaust pipes meet the exhaust manifold. And obviously those are rusted bolts, nuts. One of them's missing even, see, on the right side. And the others are rusted just like on any car. So given that I don't have anything to heat them up with, it looks like I'll just be trying to break them loose without breaking them, which is a tough job. They usually break, and if they break, it's kind of game over. I can't do anything if they break. I can't take them apart, I can't take them out. So I'll need to get the car towed to some place that can extract them somehow. Or I can try to cut them with a Dremel or something, but those are very strong steel. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. So let's hope they don't break. Guys, getting the fuel tank out of the car is a pain of a job. Yeah, first you have to take out the drive shaft, which I've already done, as you can see here. But the nuts that were here that were holding the drive shaft to the differential flange were kind of rusted and stuck. Took me a lot of pain to get those out. And then when I tried to take out the bolts that hold and the nuts that hold the fuel tank, this one, where was it? Yeah, this one here broke. There's a bolt that was here, and some of it is still in there. So I'll have to extract the rest after I take out the fuel tank itself. And then the ones that are here, this guy, this bolt here, and the same one on the other side. I don't know if I can get the camera in there, but it's, yeah, somewhere in there, yeah, right there. Right there are rusted and difficult to take out. And that's gonna be really annoying. I'm trying to undo it, this one right now, and I'm going little by little, like this. I'm going basically a little bit, I'm undoing it a little bit and then going back a little bit in the other direction just to get the threads cleaned up a little so they can move further. But it's really annoying. It's not moving very freely. That's because it's got a lot of rust and dirt on the upper side of it. And I don't want to just don't want to strain it too much because then it'll break. So after every few turns, not turns, but just, yeah, every few centimeters of movement, I am going back a little and retightening it just to get the threads moving and to hope to get some of the crap out. And then, yeah, and then going back again. This is really taking a lot of time. Okay, I'm gonna back it in a little bit because it's starting to get way too hard now. That's what she said. Anyways, okay, now I'm back to unscrewing. At this point, I've undone all the bolts and nuts, and the fuel tank has started to come down. Obviously, I had to disconnect all of its hoses before that, including vent hoses, including the filler neck hose, which was a pain. And now I'm supporting it with 2 jacks and still trying to wiggle it loose. It's not dropping fully, but I'm gonna gradually start lowering the jacks and wiggle it, and it should come out. Yeah, I made a mistake. At this point, the tank is partly down, but I disconnected the filler neck hose from the rear. So from somewhere here, basically from, yeah, you can see it from here. I disconnected it from right there. And so the hose itself is still attached to the tank because it's a really tight fit to
to reach and disconnect it from the neck itself on the radiator, on the tank, and I couldn't reach there, and I left the hose thinking the tank would just kind of slide forward or tilt forward and down and come out. But that is not happening because the front of the tank is hitting the rest of the car here, and so it can't come down like that. So I need to push it back up and then have some room to work to disconnect the hose directly from the neck of the tank itself. So I've just opened up a whole lot of additional work for myself here. Actually, I am going to give it one more try to slide forward and down, and you can see it's not far off. Maybe if I pull it down a bit, it could come off and still have room to have the hose clear the subframe. So let me try that. Dropping the jack seems to make it move quite a bit. Okay, it's mostly clear on this side. And if you're wondering why I have this bag here, it's basically to catch the tank when it falls, so it doesn't just drop on the ground. Yeah. Okay, the other side cleared the front of the car. So I'm gonna drop this jack a little further, see how it goes. Man, it's tough doing these things alone and without a jack, and without a lift. Okay. Yep. It's coming off. Okay, kind of working. What I'm worried about is the tank just tumbling down without anything to catch it. So that's why I'm going very slowly with this. Yep. So one of the hoses, this guy, is actually, well, I hope this bracket didn't break, but it was attached somewhere here on the tank. I didn't detach this because I thought it was all just staying with the tank, but apparently this little hose here goes to the car. So I'm gonna detach it now and continue. Okay, done. And now it looks like it's all free. Nothing else is holding the tank in. The connector there is just hanging, it's not attached to anything. Looks like it's clear, and the only thing that's kind of still in the way is the filler hose, which is here, this thing. And it still needs to clear the subframe. But that should be fine as long as I just pull, that hose. If I just pull the tank forward, this hose is flexible, so it should be fine. Yeah, in fact, I can probably just pull it now to the side. like this. The whole tank is moving. Yeah, here, I lifted it above the subframe and to the side. And we are clear. Okay. Okay. Great success. So the most important thing to check now is the condition of the chassis. Once the fuel tank is removed, a lot of new sheet metal is visible. So let's do that. That's way more important than the condition of the fuel tank itself, because obviously that's replaceable. So let's see what the chassis looks like. Here, where the tank was, looks fine. There's rust here, which I knew. That was already, I mean, it was kind of visible. The other side of it was visible here before the tank was removed. Maybe this can be cleaned up and kind of sealed so it doesn't rust more. I'll talk to the body shop. And on the other side, what's this? Yeah, it's fine. Just dirty. The other side looks pretty much the same. Slightly better, but still some rust. And there is rust here where the brake line connector is. That's very common. I don't know, a lot of the E30s have that. Some rust here. Probably need to reseal that. Yeah. Okay, not too bad.